then?
We are three wise men.
We are astrologers. We come from the Far East.
We come from Ali Baba's house of shawarma in Lower Haight.
We come to praise the infant.
I'm afraid I can't help you. I'm doing the housework.
No!
No, we must see him.
We were led by a star.
Sorry, I've got to do the hoovering.
But please, we brought presents.
Presents? Why didn't you say so then?
We have brought magic glasses, rave eyeballs and bindies.
Well, I suppose you better come in then. Well, what is he then? What star sign is he?
Capricorn.
Eh? So what are they like then?
He's
the Son of God.
King
The
of the
Messiah.
Jews, the Messiah.
King of the Jews.
And that's Capricorn, is it?
No, just him. By what name are you calling him?
Bryan!
We worship you, O Bryan. We praise to you, O Bryan.
Okay, that's enough of that. I've still got my hoovering to do, but do pop by again. But don't worry too much about the bindies. Okay, bye. Bye-bye.
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 Hello lovies, and welcome to Monty Pyper's Life of Bryan. Our story begins with the birth of a young lad by the name of Bryan. We join young Bryan growing up as a Jewish lad under Roman occupation in the Holy Lands. The original text begins with Bryan and his mother watching the Sermon on the Mount, but that's a bit religious, so we'll skip right to the stoning, which should be quite appropriate for all of you stoners in the audience. The stoning is one of the many episodes in the movie which basically ridicules the concept of blasphemy. Ironically, the Life of Bryan was banned from British television for many years because of charges of blasphemy. It also features a number of women in false beards, ready to throw rocks at anybody, uttering the word Jehovah.
He said Jehovah!
We now begin Bryan's story arc, with him questioning the nature of his parentage.
I've always enjoyed the movies of Woody Allen and his dry observations on neurotic New Yorkers. I guess I must be Jewish. On the other hand, I've always enjoyed the movies of Martin Scorsese. Casino, Goodfellas, Mean Streets. Maybe I'm Roman.
The seeds of doubt have been planted in Bryan's mind.
And so they should. I had it off with a centurion, so I did.
Bryan finds himself working, selling peanuts and such to the Romans at the Colosseum. That's the Network Associates Colosseum in Oakland.
Beer! Ice cold beer! Green buds. Green buds.
Bryan becomes embroiled in the whole People's Front of Judea thing and ends up writing Romans Go Home in Latin all over the palace. Here's a scale model that Esther made earlier. Naturally, Bryan gets thrown in jail.
You're a fucking nit!
Bryan is then arrested and thrown before the mercy of Pontius Pilate.
So, Jew, what is your name?
Bryan.
Bryan?
No, Bryan.
Dare to wait us, you Webelwef scallion.
What?
Strike him, Centurion. Very roughly.
But I'm not Jewish. I'm a Roman.
Your father was a woman?
A Roman!
Really? What was his name?
Nautius Maximus!
Nautius Maximus.
Centurion, do we have a Nautius Maximus in the garrison?
No, I think it's a joke. You know, like biggest dickus.
What's so funny about Biggest Dickus?
It's a joke name. Nobody's really called Biggest Dickus.
Oh, really? I have a very good friend in Rome called Biggest Dickus. Silence! What is the meaning of all this? Wait till Biggest Dickus hears about this.
Can I go now?
I will not have my friends ridiculed by the common soldiery. Does anyone else care to have a giggle when I say my friend's name? Biggest Dickus. He has a wife, you know. Her name is Incontinentia. Incontinentia buttocks. Enough of this.
You, like I, are probably wondering what the hell we're doing watching a remake of The Life of Bryan, one of the finest films ever made in the history of cinema. So far we've seen a boring story about an uninteresting boy and his stupid adventures narrated by someone who looks like he's had a few too many to drink. It's tough to know what to say about this film, other than it is absolutely reprehensible. It'd almost be worth panning it for its blasphemous attacks on religion, but it's so bad as to make one wonder what the point would be in that. Nevertheless, I believe we're only about halfway through, and you've got a lot more of this to suffer through, which I, thankfully, do not have to suffer through. If you'll excuse me now, I have a new Adam Sandler film to watch. Thank you.
As good as escape from the Romans and rejoins the People's Front of Judea, where he meets Judith, somebody who he has admired from afar and who also has admired him and his acts of daring do.
Bryan, I'm amazed you've done all of this for the Judean People's Front.
Yeah. Sure, whatever.
That night, Bryan and Judith make mad, passionate love, and a love tryst soon develops. After Bryan makes good his escape, he is mistaken for a messiah by a bunch of gullible fools. Here we are 2,000 years later, and what have we learned? Nothing, really, have we?
It is his gourd. We will carry it for you, Master.
No, there he is! Over
Follow the gourd, the holy gourd of Jerusalem!
The gourd! Hold up the sandal as he has commanded us. It is a shoe! It's a shoe!
Day, Bryan mother, early to rise, walks to the front of the house, opens the curtains and what is in front of her, but 30,000 people screaming for the Messiah. She's confused.
Who the bloody hell are you lot?
Holy my son! You ought to be ashamed of yourselves! The
Not the Messiah, he's a very naughty boy.
I bet you'd like to hear that again, wouldn't you?
He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy.
In the next scene, Bryan's mother finds him naked in bed with Judith. Sadly, Catherine's contract has a no nudity clause, so we won't be seeing that particular scene. Nice try though, Mark. Bryan makes good his escape from his followers, but he's recaptured by the Romans and is sentenced for crucifixion, a terrible, terrible fate. However, there is one chance that he might escape. For the sake of Hollywood convenience, the Romans must release one prisoner.
Dickus.
Yes?
The crowd say they want to release Roderick.
Very well then. Release Roderick!
There is no Roderick.
There is no Roderick. Do we have any other prisoners?
We have a Roger.
A Roger? Release Roger!
Bryan! Release Bryan!
The next scenes in the film cover the subject, the rather grisly subject of crucifixion. And you've all done an awful lot of drugs, so I don't think we really want to go there. So for the sake of your sanity and everybody else's, let's say Bryan escapes and we had a very happy ending. Oh, and by the way, mine's a gin and tonic.
I'm free! I'm free! I'm free! Happy birthday, Allie!
Oh, wasn't that fun doing that Lucky Bryan sketch?
I am.
That was really, really good fun. Anyway, who's for a shag? I mean, who's going first?
Me!
Really? Oh.
Me.